Yeah, this is a bit dramatic. You know, I'm just gonna roll with it anyways. Today we're gonna be talking about a guy named Mr.Regan who made a very misinformed and slightly racist video about coronavirus. Let's hop right to it.
Virus hoax.
Mr.Regan.
I noticed that a lot of left-wing blue-check Twitter people, I think they're called twits. So I've noticed that a lot of twits have criticized conservatives recently for claiming that the coronavirus is a hoax. Let me be clear. Nobody is claiming that the coronavirus is a hoax. It's a real virus. Nobody is disputing that. The hoax people are citing is the alarmism of the mainstream media. The mainstream media has caused a global panic. Flights from Europe are canceled. I disagree with Trump on this one. People claim that Trump supporters never disagree with Trump. Well, that's not true. Here's an example right here. And many conservatives will disagree with me on this, but I think that this is an overreaction. The NBA postponed their season indefinitely. Disney closed. Broadway closed. Everything is canceled pretty much. Nobody's flying anywhere. The airline industry is crashing, no pun intended. Oil prices are crashing. The entire stock market is in a nosedive. By the way, throw your money in now if you have something in savings. You're going to make 20% back probably by the end of the year, maybe even in the next few months. But make no mistake, this is a massive overreaction, a hysteria manufactured by CNN and the mainstream media.
Yes, because the World Health Organization counts as the mainstream media.
The coronavirus is not the bubonic plague. It's the flu. It's a flu that we simply don't have a vaccination for. It's a flu that might be a little bit more dangerous for older people than the typical flu, but it's the flu, and it's nothing to get too worked up about. But people are panicking.
Well, people are panicking because corona is not the flu. As noted by the CDC, the coronavirus is new. Well, at least this strain of it. Humans have been dealing with influenza, or the flu, for literally hundreds of years. As a result of the hundreds of years of exposure we've had to the flu, we've developed immunities, and we've developed vaccines, but we haven't for corona, and certain people are susceptible to it more than others. Not to mention that if too many people can get infected, it can mutate, and, you know, that's not good, because then we're going to have to try new ways to combat it. What I'm really wondering is, why do conservatives keep downplaying this? It's serious. It's not just the flu. This is a pandemic. Stop it, guys. And look, I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. This is, you know, backed up by the data.
Different statistics floating around Facebook and Twitter. But let's have a look at a few that I think are very critical. Now, this data here is primarily from Business Insider. Ebola, 40% fatality rate. Nipah, 77 fatality rate. SARS, 9.6 fatality rate. MERS, 34% fatality rate. Coronavirus, 3.6 fatality rate. And this is actually wrong. This is just from the confirmed cases. The estimate that I saw was 1% because most cases go unreported. And I think it's actually less than that, way less. Every panic-induced virus in the past 30 years has been deadlier than the coronavirus. But do you remember everything getting shut down in previous years? I don't. Do you remember Obama being blamed for these viruses or called a racist? No. In fact, there was no real panic at all. Why? Because the media didn't tell you to panic. They didn't have a motivation to attack the president at that time. But if the economy crashes and the quality of life in America drops, they think that maybe they've got a shot at winning the presidential election in November. They don't, but that's their plan. And consider this, the H1N1 virus, commonly called the swine flu, had an estimated fatality rate of 11% in 2009, according to this WebMD article. But in 2013, after better information was available, the situation was reassessed, and now they say that the virus had about a 0.02 fatality rate. Who knows what the coronavirus fatality rate actually is? We literally have no way of knowing. You may have the coronavirus right now and not know it because so many people express zero symptoms. Here's another valuable tweet. This one is from Charlie Kirk, and this is a great tweet. Okay, so this is the deaths every single day worldwide. The flu causes 1,027 deaths worldwide every single day. Pneumonia, 2,216 deaths every single day. Tuberculosis, 3,000 deaths every single day. Coronavirus, 56. Coronavirus is causing an average of 56 deaths every single day. So I think that should put this all in perspective.
Where to even begin? Okay, so first of all, Obama's being blamed, several years after his presidency for the corona situation right now.
Add, if I might, and to go a little bit further, the Obama administration made a decision on testing that turned out to be very detrimental to what we're doing, and we undid that decision a few days ago.
Again, like I said before, the coronavirus is dangerous because it's new. We don't know how to treat it effectively yet. So the more that people get infected, it increases the chances that it could become more deadly by mutation. Also, I love the conspiracy memes here. Democrats are blowing this out of the water, even though the World Health Organization called it a literal pandemic. They just want to dethrone Daddy Trump. Personally, do I think the quarantine stuff is getting a little bit out of hand? Maybe. People are having some terrible reactions to it, like the toilet paper thing. But other than that, the precautions that we're taking that are recommended by medical professionals don't seem to really be overreactions to me. These seem to be standard procedure for a virus this new. Oh, and one more thing before we continue. You know that coronavirus can cause pneumonia, right? But don't take my word for it. Take Chubbyemu's word. Chubbyemu is a large YouTube channel which covers special medical cases, and this excerpt from one of his videos shows how coronavirus can cause pneumonia. I will link his channel and the video below.
Something that you find when someone has a heart attack, but BM didn't have a heart attack. A throat swab confirmed SARS-2 infection and COVID-19 disease. The next day, January 4th, 2020, BM was transferred to the infectious disease hospital in Wuhan City when he became unconscious. A CT scan found pneumonia. BM was moved into the intensive care unit. He was turned over onto his stomach to help get more oxygen in his lungs during machine ventilation. And this brings us to why this is happening in BM and why he's being treated this way. COVID-19's main feature is pneumonia, but how does the virus cause this? The spikes on the virus surface are protein. The viral genome dictates how every protein is made. We have the genome fully sequenced, so we know these spikes are similar to the ones that were found on the first SARS virus that had an outbreak in 2003. These spikes interact with something called angiotensin-converting enzyme 2, or ACE2 in humans, not ACE1. It looks like this is how it enters the cells of the lower lung. When it enters, it injects its RNA and hijacks the lung cell to create viral materials instead of letting the cell live its normal life. It kills the cell while creating more virus. But the lungs aren't the only place where humans have ACE2. The stomach and the intestines have it. Specific parts of the male anatomy have it. It's on the kidneys, and it's in the heart, which could explain BM's damaged heart. Problems in the stomach probably won't kill someone immediately, though. Problems in the male anatomy, while painful, probably won't kill someone immediately either. But a problem of the heart or the lungs can kill someone in minutes, which brings us back to pneumonia. When the body's immune system detects viral damage in the lungs, it reacts. It expands the blood vessels so more immune cells can enter, but this also means fluid fills BM's lungs. This makes breathing harder because now the lungs can't exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide with the blood. But high pressure in lowers the movement of air out. What's the air going out? It's carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide levels increase in the blood when the pressure is high. This is uncomfortable, and patients will instinctively try to breathe against the ventilator. That might knock things off sync, so medicines were given to temporarily paralyze BM's respiratory muscles so he can't fight the machine. Medicines were given to sedate him so that he wouldn't be fully conscious while paralyzed. All of these things, low tidal volume ventilation, muscle paralysis and sedation, and early prone positioning that's turning him onto his stomach, have been shown to decrease mortality in patients with acute respiratory distress syndrome, just like BM. Dialysis was started because his kidneys were starting to fail. A viral infection in the lung can cause other germs to start growing, and in BM, bacteria was starting to grow. Why this happens is not really clear. It could be that a viral infection reduces the body's available resources to fight a bacterial co-infection, but it also could be that viruses directly sabotage the immune system's ability to fight off a co-infection.
As I said, current estimates suggest that 1% of people who get this virus die. You'll hear 3.6%, but it's the percent of reported cases, and many cases of coronavirus are going unreported. Now, you may have noticed that I haven't produced a video in about a week. Well, that's because I have been in bed sick. More on that in a moment. First, Regan 15 for your 15% off. So, as I've said, I have been sick. Did I have coronavirus? I have no idea. To be honest, I think it was just a really bad cold. I didn't have a fever or anything like that. So now how do I not know if I had corona or not? Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't feel like I should get tested because people under 55, they're not dying from coronavirus. And why go infect a bunch of old people in the hospital in order to get tested? What's the point of that?
So if I feel sick and I think I have coronavirus, don't get tested. Wow, that's just like saying, hey, if you feel like you have HIV, don't get tested for that. Who cares if you spread it around because you didn't get tested and can't take the proper precautions not to spread it towards people, right?
My point is just this. If I didn't get tested, how many other people who are really, really sick just aren't going into the hospital, just aren't getting tested? I imagine quite a lot. Again, this virus is not that dangerous. The mainstream media has just hyped it up so much that everybody's gone into a crazy panic.
Again, it's not the mainstream media, it's medical professionals telling us to stay home in order to avoid this virus. I mean, Jesus Christ, do these types of people even listen to what they're saying? You know, because the CNN and the mainstream media has the power to tell the government, hey, stay home from work and school so you don't get infected with this virus.
Now, in defense of the mainstream media, this overreaction started in China. We saw some pretty crazy scenes of Chinese people being rounded up by men in biohazard suits. China blew this thing way out of proportion from the very beginning. Of course, then the left-wing media in the United States went completely crazy, and they actually have fallen back on their favorite accusation against conservatives, that somehow this virus is exposing that we conservatives are, yep, you guessed it, racist. Of course, we're racist because of the coronavirus. This accusation has taken two forms. The first is the accusation that calling it the Wuhan virus is racist because nobody ever classified a virus by the geographic region of origin before. No, that's never happened ever in the history of the world ever. No, this is something that we conservatives invented just for this Wuhan coronavirus because we hate Chinese people so much. I mean, even among actual racists, the Chinese seem to be kind of exempt. For whatever reason, racists seem to make an exemption for Asians. Maybe they got a thing for Asian chicks. I don't know. But even if conservatives were racist against Asians, which is insane, but even if that were true, claiming that calling the coronavirus the Wuhan virus, claiming that that is racist, is completely absurd. In fact, it's so absurd that an organization called the Media Research Center made a brilliant video exposing just how absurd it is. The second approach to the conservatives are racist claim has been the idea that because we're not going to Chinese restaurants as much these days, we must be racist. This is a claim that was made first by AOC and reiterated by Ayanna Pressley.
There's a lot of restaurants that are feeling the pain of racism, where people are literally not patroning Chinese restaurants. They're not patroning Asian restaurants because of just straight up racism around the coronavirus.
Okay, so she said patroning instead of patronizing. I mean, yeah, that's a general word mistake, but I mean, we get the gist of what she's saying. So, I mean, it's just a callous remark, but whatever, who cares?
Around the coronavirus.
You know, since the beginning of the COVID-19 outbreak, we have seen not only the spreading of the virus, but also a rapid spreading of racism and xenophobia. The highest levels, in fact, of the Republican Party fanning irresponsibly these flames. One colleague tweeted that everything you need to know about the Chinese coronavirus, unquote. This painful rhetoric has consequences. Restaurants across Boston's Chinatown have seen up to an 80% drop in business.
I mean, this just doesn't make any sense at all. Even leftists are like, wait, what? Let me tell you, if some Chinese guy got off the plane from Wuhan this morning and went to shake AOC or Ayanna's hand, those girls would be running and hiding under their congressional office desks. The virus originated in China. Of course, people don't want to be around Chinese people. Is it rational? No, I don't think it is. But is it racist? No, of course it's not, you lunatics. It's what we call self-preservation. If some new form of leprosy originated from blonde people, we'd all be avoiding blonde people. That doesn't make anybody racist, you muppets.
Wow, that was actually very retarded. So let me get this straight. You're not racist for avoiding Chinese people because of a virus that originated in another country. Even though those Chinese people that you're avoiding may or may not have been born in China, you don't know. You're just going to avoid them. That's racist. I'm sorry, that's literal racism. You are judging someone based on the color of their skin. And by judging, I mean believing that they're more likely to have a virus than another group of people. And it's funny, even the analogy you use shows your ignorance. The coronavirus didn't come from Chinese people. It came from animals that Chinese people are around. When you said that if a virus, a new type of leprosy comes from blonde people, that is not accurate to the situation that corona is. I mean, this isn't really shocking coming from the guy who thinks it's okay to discriminate against black people because of affirmative action.
Now, there are certain things that you can assume
based on what people say and how they act. Like if they say the N-word a lot, I think it'd be difficult to imagine. Although there are people who do that just to be provocative. I think Owen Benjamin says the N-word a lot just to be provocative. But
so you would say somebody like Owen Benjamin is not a racist?
I literally know nothing about Owen Benjamin.
Okay, because he has a video where he literally said that if he had to choose a doctor, he would never go with a black doctor over a white doctor because he would be too scared the black doctor would kill him.
Actually, I understand that completely.
Do you think that's a racist sentiment?
100% no. I think that is a sentiment. And listen, I worked for a black doctor, and he was an awesome guy, and I loved him to death. He's an amazing guy. He works in Beverly Hills. He went to school at Harvard. He grew up in Beverly Hills. He went to Beverly Hills High School. Great guy. Love him to death. But in general, if you don't know who the doctor is, if you don't know him personally, and you just see that they're black, right? Because of affirmative action really screwed over good black doctors. I mean, look at Ben Carson, like one of the best brain surgeons in the world, genius. But because of affirmative action, they're held to a different standard. Black people are held to a different standard than everybody else, a lower standard.
Do you think that there are doctors that pass med school that otherwise wouldn't because affirmative action somehow gives them better grades?
I think that what happens is that people suspect that maybe these people look. I don't actually know how.
You can't get through med school on affirmative action. There's not like a grade.
You can get through med school with flying colors, and you can scrape by, just like everything else.
Yeah, but you know what they call the worst white doctor that graduates from a college? A doctor. Like, as long as you pass, you pass. Okay, whether you're the best or the worst.
That doesn't alleviate people's fears, their perceptions.
You're giving me like a million different reasons why people can be racist. You're saying like, well,
it's not about being racist. Look,
you're talking about judging a doctor's capabilities just based on the color of his skin.
But let me just reiterate the primary point I'm trying to get across in this video. The real pandemic is the media alarmism. This was a great opportunity for CNN to convince people that Trump is a bad president, create public panic, crash the economy, and then blame Trump for it. To CNN's credit, they recognized a real opportunity to exploit public fear. It's an incredibly irresponsible and dangerous thing to do, to stoke fear this way, but they have chosen to do it, and it is working.
Wait, so it's irresponsible to tell people to stay home because of a virus, but it's not irresponsible to create a conspiracy theory that the people telling you to stay home, the news outlets, are in a global conspiracy to dethrone Trump.
It's impressive in the same way that it was impressive the way Hitler convinced an entire country that blonde people were superior when he had brown hair. Credit for that joke goes to Joe Mackey. The guy is a genius. If you've never heard his comedy, look him up on YouTube. Joe Mackey, genius. One of the ways that the mainstream media is criticizing Trump is by saying we aren't testing enough. There aren't enough test kits, etc., and that this is all Trump's fault because, Trump actually puts those tests together himself by hand. I don't know if you know that. That's part of the job of the president, make coronavirus test kits by hand. His job. Okay, so here's the problem. The media has panicked everybody into getting tested even if they have no symptoms. I even have a friend who tweeted this the other day, and this is a famous social media person. You probably have heard of them. They wanted to get tested with no symptoms. The media is making people crazy. Look, if people are getting tested with no symptoms, of course there aren't going to be enough test kits. Statistically speaking, almost nobody under 55 is going to die of coronavirus. But look, if you're old, especially if you are immune compromised, and the virus has reached your area, you might want to self-quarantine. Get a family member to shop for you or order from Instacart. Maybe get an emergency rations kit from preparewithmrregan.com. Now look, I hate that old people die. Generally, I hate it. My grandparents all died several years ago, and it was tragic for my family. These were all very good people, and the thought of anybody's grandparents dying right now because of coronavirus, I sympathize with everybody out there who's going to have to deal with this or who is dealing with this currently. But this will happen whether it's corona or the common flu or some other ailment. Old people die. It's a crappy part of living this life. But it's also what makes life so precious. The ephemeral nature of it. The fact that we do live about 80 to 100 years drives us to make the most of those years. We push ourselves to make a difference in the world. And time is the real currency that we trade in. It's those who toil through this life, raising good kids and contributing to the development of their families and their communities and their country and to the world. It's these people who find themselves at the end of their lives fulfilled. Now, I'm not saying that we should not do everything that we can to preserve the lives of the grandparents out there who are currently at risk from the coronavirus. I just mean to put the deaths of those that we do lose into some perspective. Old people will unfortunately die. You will die. I will die. If we spend our lives worried about this, we won't be able to fully enjoy the time we do have. So tell your parents that you love them. Live your life with integrity. Do your job to the best of your ability. And maybe travel a bit. Maybe wait a month for that last suggestion, though. Now, maybe I'm totally wrong about the severity of the coronavirus. You may 100% disagree with me, and I respect that. I've been wrong about stuff before. And a lot of my friends think that I'm wrong about this. But I can only tell you my perspective, and I honestly think that the panic is worse than the virus in this case. The panic has become the pandemic. It's not the virus that has crashed the economy. It's the fear of the virus that has done this. Stop fearing death, people. Don't go be irresponsible, of course, but don't panic either. Go out and live life. And remember, it's not that our liberal friends are ignorant. It's just they know so much that isn't so.
Well, I'm glad that's over. Jesus Christ. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification. Of course, all of you liked it. If you didn't like it, tell me why in the comment section below. Yeah. I usually don't throw a picture of a hazmat suit on the screen, but it's just a joke. Oh, one more last thing. You can actually join my Discord and make sure to follow me on Twitter.